Welcome back, guys, to another exciting episode of Questbound Reader, where today we're going to talk about one book and one book only, and that is Piranesi by Susanna Clark. Guys, if you have no idea what this book is about and you've heard a lot about it on YouTube or heard it mentioned everywhere, stick around and find out. We'll talk about it in a bit. Are you also a fan of books where you have no idea what the hell is going on for the first 30 or 40 pages? I'm not. Let's get right into Piranesi. Guys, Piranesi is a short book about 300 something pages published in 2020, written by author Susanna Clark. It is not a bad book. I rated it a 3 out of 5. It's not my personal cup of tea, but I found it to be just okay. So, what's it all about? Guys, going into Piranesi, I can honestly say the first almost quarter of the book, I have no idea what the hell is going on. He spends, Piranesi spends a lot of time describing this beautiful house that he's in with endless corridors, endless rooms, endless amounts of statues, vestibules. He describes in detail birds, the albatross, fish, how he eats, and you're like, okay, well this is good. It's setting the ground foundation for what's happening. But to me, it didn't pick up any pace after that. It just stayed kind of monotonous through the whole book, in my opinion, right? And I get it, right? The book's been nominated for a bunch of things. I'm not saying Susanna Clark writes in a way that I dislike. I just this particular book, I'm still wondering. Like, I gave it a 3 out of 5 because I enjoyed parts of it. But man, what the hell? What did I just read? Like, how do I sum up? How do I narrate Piranesi? It's the story of a person, a boy, a man, and he's in this house, and he's there with another person called the other, and he has statues, and his statues are his friends, and he feels comfort with the statues. The house has an ocean trapped inside of it. The ocean provides fish. He goes hunting, gathering, eating. He sleeps on top of some of the statues. Sometimes he sleeps in rooms. He's explored this house for miles and miles and miles, and it appears to be never ending. And I won't get into the details, but I will say this, right? There are ways to get in and out of the house, and Piranesi is not all who he seems to be, and neither is the other. And certain events lead to you figuring out who the other actually is and who Piranesi originally was. And plot twist, I don't know if you saw this coming. If you read the book, I did. Piranesi is not his name. So it's an interesting book, and it kind of puts you into perspective of human innocence, right? I think of the virtues of this book, right? You learn how nice it is to live in a world where you're still inside the bubble, where like hatred and sin and all these dark topics, right, that are heavy to digest, haven't really penetrated into your mind. And that is Piranesi. Piranesi lives in a beautiful bubble where life is good. The house provides. The house is great. The other is a wonderful person, and there's no reason, right, to be hateful. There's no reason to be angry or upset or whatever. And then he gets angry and upset, right? So it depicts human innocence in a beautiful way. It depicts the best qualities of people and some of the worst at the same time, and it's very interesting. You see how this person Piranesi cares for the birds, how in such painstakingly agonizing, excruciating detail he writes about them and about the house and about the days, right? Geez, he doesn't use a calendar, right? Not the standard. There's no January through December, right? He names the calendar based off of things that he liked. So half of the book, it's the year of the albatross, the seventh year of the 15th albatross with the 32 snakes or whatever. Not really like that, but that's what it felt like, right? So it's very hard to keep track of time. And every chapter starts with like, hey, this is the year that you're reading this, and this is what happened today. And it's kind of like a journal entry, right? And then you have parts where it's just him narrating what's going on between himself and the world, or himself with the other. I will say this: the thing I'll give you my pros and cons, right? I gave you some already. Some of the pros, you learn about human innocence. You learn about, in a way, love and how to nurture and care and in detail, right? The cons for me is it's very, and this is one of the biggest con, I guess, the world is just the house for the majority of the book. It's all you learn about is just the house. So like, it's not really any exploration going. And the house is interesting, yes. It's not that interesting to just keep it in three. I don't know. Maybe for me, just the house was just a house, a really big house with endless rooms and an ocean, and that's about it. For him, it is. Piranesi made it seem like a magical thing, and I felt like for him, this was a much more fantastical book being in it than it was for me reading it. Anyway, that's my rant on that part. Fantastical elements. I think I give it a 3 out of 5. Right there, the house itself is it's what's fantastical. Everything else is not right. Piranesi does. There's no magic, right? There's no Piranesi doing any magical things. The house doesn't do anything magical per se. The others certainly not magical. Um, it has, I think it has to do a lot more with like science and psychology, which is fascinating in its own. But for a fantasy book, or well, wasn't too fantastical in my opinion. I don't, and it is labeled as fantasy fiction, mystery, magical realism. So it's very realistic in its magical sense. I think to play in a strong point, if you like books that are less to do with the fantastical components and more to do with like mystery and like trying to figure out what's going on, then this is more a book for you than it was for me. And I would gladly recommend this book to you in that regard. If you like reading like journal entries and then mixing that with reality and what's going on, I definitely think this will be for you. Like I said, I don't think it was a bad book at all. To me, it was just okay. It was an okay read. Would I read Susanna Clark again? Sure. Why not? I didn't hate her book. I didn't hate how she writes. I think she writes very well. It's just to me, this particular book, yet again, was a little repetitive. And I saw the conclusion coming from a mile away with very minor, changes here and there. But yes, I did see that coming. And I'm glad it ended the way that it did. Uh, so I will say that enjoy the book, guys. Give it a shot. You have nothing to lose. You can read this book literally in a day or two. It's only like 300 pages, and it starts off slow, but it picks up a little bit. So give it a shot, and then let me know what you guys think. And just like that, it's a wrap. We've come to the end of yet another video, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around. Thanks so much for helping me grow my bookshelf one book at a time with your favorites and some of mine, and in this occasion, some of my not favorites. But nonetheless, thank you so much for sticking around. I hope to see you guys soon. If you have any recommendations on books to read, please shoot them out. Comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That it means a lot to me. If you guys do, it'll help out with the weird YouTube algorithm that apparently is a thing and I know nothing about. But yeah, guys, stick around and wait for the next episode. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.